I've made millions of dollars online over the last couple of years, and I don't wake up at 5 a.m., journal, meditate, or take cold showers every day. I'm also not a raging party animal. I don't take PJs, live in Mykonos and Bali, and fly on jets and live on yachts and all that good stuff. 99% of the time, I just live a pretty normal life. I wake up, I go, I do my work, I go to the gym, see my friends, go out, have a drink, party sometimes. It's pretty standard. It's if I have a 9 to 5. I just run, 4 different businesses. But there comes a time in my life where I need to completely reset. I need to dominate my own brain. I need to figure out what the fuck is going on. And this is where I have invented the heaven and hell protocol. When monk mode is not enough, I need to enter nightmare mode. I need to go beyond anything that I've ever seen before, lock myself in, remove all distractions. No porn, alcohol, drugs, girls, parties, video games, TV, clean diet. And in many cases, I don't even exercise because all I do is wake up, work for 14 hours straight, and then go to sleep and then do that over and over and over again. And I've used this for many, many times in the past. And usually it's around this time of year, around January, around the New Year's. Normally when something disastrous is happening in my business or when I need to make a dramatic change in my life. And the way that it works is that there are two parts to it. There's the heaven and then there's the hell. So the hell is kind of what you might refer to as monk mode on steroids. It's called nightmare mode. It was made by Alex Becker. I didn't invent this. I first found this out a couple of years ago when one of my friends named Nunberunner introduced me to it. And then I first discovered the Alex Becker videos after that where he describes nightmare mode, which I think was probably the impetus for Iman Gadzhi's monk mode, where you just don't leave the house at all. He's working out every day, working every day, meditating, no social media, no screen time, basically depriving your brain of all dopamine. And I think he eats like a walnut and like some jam or something. I don't do that. Like I'll eat some meat and rice and vegetables, but it's a pretty clean diet. And normally I worked out every single day for multiple hours. I did that last time. This current protocol, I'm not even working out at all. I haven't left my house except to walk my dogs, just because there are so many things to do. And the reason I'm doing this is because last time I did this with my old business because I got complacent. My business was doing $50, $70, $90,000 in profit a month. I thought it was the shit. I thought I knew everything. It was running on autopilot. I worked maybe 2 hours a day and then I just fucked around the rest of the time. And then we got hit with 2 lawsuits. I lost control of the business. We lost over $100,000 in profit in 60 days. And we were on the verge of bankruptcy. So I thought, okay, what is the best way to reset? And I invented this protocol for myself. So the first part, the nightmare mode, is basically locking yourself in a room for 30 days, depriving your brain of any sort of dopamine so that the only dopamine that you get is from work. And again, it's super extreme. I don't do this 99% of the time, but I've realized that if I just do a little monk mode and I'm like, oh, I'm going to, go out a little bit less, or I'm not going to take that drink, or maybe I'll do a sober 30 days, or maybe I'll do a little keto or, like an intermittent fasting. If I do that, then it starts to creep in, well, maybe this friend's going to ask me out. Maybe I can go out this time. Maybe I can do this thing. And then slowly by surely, I don't actually get anything done. And it's only by actually going to the extremes and fully locking myself in, where I'm literally in my mom's basement right now. I have been for the past week and I will be for the next 3 weeks, that I can actually get anything done. And the last time when I did this, after my business was on the verge of bankruptcy, I managed to take it from losing $100,000 in profit over 60 days to making $100,000 a month. 6 months later, profitable. We managed to sell the company at the last second. That was a do or die situation. It was literally going to be my life's work. In the entirety of my net worth was tied up in that company. And if I didn't make it happen, there was nothing else that was going to do. I would have to move back home. I would have to abandon my apartment, my car, everything I knew, all my friends, everything that I loved, and 3 years of work. So the hell part is kind of as I described. It's nightmare mode. But the heaven part, I think, is a bit unique, which is a little bit different. Everyone's like, oh, I'm on Iman Gadzhi, monk mode, whatever. Anyone can do that. Now, nightmare mode is definitely more extreme. But the heaven part has helped me because when I did the monk mode or the nightmare mode in the past, the problem was, one, that I would get sucked up into any of this stuff that was happening if I just let one thing slip, right? So I had to completely deprive my brain of any dopamine. I would only scroll social media for work. Unfortunately, I do TikTok and YouTube, so that kind of sucks. But in the past, I wasn't really. So it was no social media, no TV, nothing like that. Just working 12, 14, 16 hours a day. You're going to get burnt out eventually, and I did after like a month. So It's part of the game. I just burnout isn't so bad if you need to get things done, and I did. But the part that's interesting is the heaven part, which is basically you deprive your brain of dopamine for those 30 days, but before that, in order to prevent yourself from even desiring dopamine in the first place, I basically overload the fuck out of my brain with every dopaminergic activity you could possibly do. I cannot describe them all to you because some of them are not allowed, but you can kind of get the picture, right? Go out with your friends, go on vacation, do the extravagant things, flexing, going to parties, taking drugs, going to raves, blacking out all the time, repeatedly over and over and over again, saturate with the dopamine. And I'm not advising you to do this. This is not healthy at all. This is terrible for you. This is just as worked for me. But essentially, for the 2 weeks before my planned heaven and hell, I get into heaven, which by the end of it starts to feel like hell. And the whole point of this is that when heaven starts to feel like hell, well, then hell will feel like heaven. And really, I need to get the work done, so I need to enter hell. So what's the best way to do that, right? After I've gone on a 4-day bender and I can no longer feel my brain or my face, and my nostrils need to be unclogged, all of a sudden, work sounds pretty damn good. And then when I get into the 30-day lock-in burnout fest, it's not that bad, at least for the first week or so. Then it starts getting harder and harder, and then by the end of the 30 days, you basically burn yourself out. So the only time when I really need to do this is when I need that change in my business, right? Previous time before was when I was about to go bankrupt. This time now is because I realized that I had way too many things on my plate, and I wasn't taking it seriously enough, and I need to make dramatic changes. It spawned spawned this YouTube channel even being created in the first place. All of my videos started from the beginning of January, which is when I did mine. I'm launching a new business. I'm turning over other businesses. I'm hiring and managing new employees. There is so much that needs to get done, and I need to get an entire year's worth of work done in 1 month. Then I will burn out. And it coincides with me starting a rave 1 month from now that we are going to throw. So that will be my return to society after the 30 days, where I will go back to working normally and actually going out, seeing people, interacting with the real world. And until then, it's just me living inside 14 hours a day, me, my dogs, my family, strict diet, nothing else. Now, the difficult thing with this is obviously that you're a human being, and I'm a human being, and I make mistakes all the time. So I do not have Alex Becker or Sam Ovens or Hormozy levels of motivation and discipline and everything else, which is why I've set it up in the way that I did. And even so, I'm already about 2 weeks in, or on my 10th day, and I'm already seeing some mistakes. I'm watching YouTube videos for business that I specifically need, and then, all of a sudden, this other video pops up and it gets in the recommended. I'm doing Instagram because I need to respond to DMs for people. Then, I catch myself scrolling. I'm doing research on TikTok and then keep going for an extra 30 minutes. And it is so hard to keep that discipline and that motivation. So I'm almost considering just throwing out my phone entirely and just focusing entirely on the business as it needs to be. The biggest thing that I learned from my friends who were doing Nightmare Mode was to prepare yourself before you get into it. With their thing, they don't even listen to music. They have no contact with the outside world. They have no social media at all. No YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Unfortunately, I need that for my business. And they literally just lock themselves in a room for a week straight and just grind on a Google Doc. They might not even have internet, exactly what needs to get done. And I think I fucked it up this time because I need to access all these other people because I work with so many different partners in your business. It is most effective when you can actually just sit there and write whatever VSL or sales letter or copywriting or emails or send the emails to your clients or just hop on calls and just do that over and over and over again and get so much more done. Unfortunately, I can't in my situation, so it is causing some of the problems. However, even that being said, I'm probably operating at 70 or 80% of the capacity. Because again, I'm just like a normal guy trying to do this. I'm not some hardcore motherfucker. Some of these Andy Elliott looking dudes who are like cutting their teeth on glass and screaming at you. I'm just like a normal dude trying to figure out what works for me. Even with that, I have noticed an insane amount of work that gets done. I basically am on calls for 8 hours straight. Then I record a video after that. Then I work on my brand for 2 hours after that. Then I meet with my partners for another hour after that. Then I do calls for our Discord communities. Then I'm working on a new brand and doing research for that. And I'm getting so much more done within 1 day because I just compress 14 hours together and I'm only actually doing 8 or 10 of those hours as real work. Whereas with a normal work day, you might work 8 hours and do 2 hours of work. And then in the span of a week, you've done 40 hours of work, but really you've only done 14. So I might get 1 week done in one day. And then you do that in 10 days and you get 7 weeks done or 10 weeks done. And by the end of the 30 days, and you get 30 weeks done. So I've done like half a year's worth of work. That's probably a little bit of an exaggeration, but that's what I'm hoping to achieve with this. And I have 3 more weeks to go. So far, though, it has dramatically increased my discipline. It has dramatically increased my motivation to actually do the work. It has dramatically increased my ability to just get out of a fucking bed, take a shower, get ready, do my stuff. The basic stuff that was difficult before, because I was like, it's just another day. I mean, the reality of the business world is like, yeah, it seems cool with all these dudes with the YouTube videos and everything, but it's kind of just a job at the end of the day. And I had noticed myself being 3 years in, it just turned into basically a 9 to 5 for me. Now, a great 9 to 5, and I wouldn't give it up for anything else, but you're kind of doing the same thing over and over again. So it's kind of interesting to set up these weird little challenges for myself to kind of fuck with my brain, to kind of fuck with my environment, where I moved from my apartment in Manhattan to living on my parents' basement in the middle of Long Island, in the woods, where I'm away from anything, where I cannot even access any parts of society if I need to. And by doing so, then it's like, if you're trying to lose weight, you don't even buy the cookies in the first place. I know I was kind of fat when I was younger. It might not look like that right now because I'm just so jacked, tan, and handsome, but back in the day, I was basically skinny, chubby, fat, husky, whatever they would call it, right? And it was because my parents would always buy ice cream or have cookies or have snacks, and I realized I don't have good discipline. So the only time I need discipline is when I purchase food. As long as I have good discipline then I don't need to eat any of the stuff when it's at home. But it's the same thing here. I don't have the good discipline to not text my friends or to not respond or when they are going out or doing this or that. So now I literally cannot even leave because I'm 4 hours away. It kind of helps a lot. So I only need to be disciplined for that one decision to get on the bus and go here. So that is my solution to this, is when I'm not disciplined and I'm not motivated and I'm not in the right mindset. It's not just to keep going and to keep doing it. It's to fucking saturate my brain with dopamine to the point where I want to do work, which I already figured out in college when I blacked out all the times over the weekends. And I was like, wait, I actually want to go to class. This is kind of interesting. And then I make it so it's entirely maximally effective to actually get the work done by basically locking myself in a room, no distractions, nothing else I can do. And then I isolate myself physically in a cabin in the fucking woods, so it's literally impossible for me to have any distractions at all. And then I actually live with my family, so I'm not completely alone, shut in, nervous breakdown after 1 week. So I have some human interaction. Plus I have my dogs, which helps out a lot, right? And this has been hugely impactful. I'm making a large amount of progress. So this has been super useful for me. Again, I do not recommend it for you, but this is just my own little variation on monk mode, nightmare mode, my own little heaven and hell protocol. If you want more information on nightmare mode, just look up Alex Becker's YouTube channel. He was a huge inspiration for me over the last couple of years. He described it even more succinctly and better than I ever could. But this is just my experience with it, and hopefully this was helpful to you guys.